Hey guys, I started following the medical medium Anthony William, and I've been doing some of his stuff lately. Been doing the celery juice twice a day for I think about 6 weeks now. I've done a few videos on that, but today I'm going to make his heavy metal detox smoothie and show you what's in that. I've been doing that for I think about 3 weeks now, so let's just get right into it. The recipe calls for a cup of orange juice, but I've just been using a cup of water and then putting 2 of these tangerines in there instead of the orange juice, and that seems to work just fine. Now these aren't part of the heavy metal detox components, so I don't think this is that critical. And he also says to put 1 or 2 bananas in there, so I do that. I use either 1 or 2, kind of just depending on how big they are, but I'm just using 1 today. Now, this is the critical part. This is the heavy metal detox components. So he says to use wild blueberries, and I had trouble finding those because of all the virus stuff, but they sell them at the produce market in front of my house, but they're kind of expensive. A 3-pound bag is $16.99. So I was just using regular blueberries at first, but I finally found these. He says use 2 cups. Right now I'm just using kind of a heaping cup. I'm kind of new at this, but I may add more after I've been doing it for a longer period of time. He also says to use a cup of cilantro. This is about 1/3 of the bunch, and I just use about that much. I don't know if that's quite a cup, but it's how much I've been using for now. I could always, add a little bit more later on as I go along. And then what I usually do is blend this up a little bit just to get that kind of all blended together before I add the rest of the powders. Alrighty, now I'll show you what the rest of the of this consists of. This is dulse flakes. These are Maine coast sea vegetables. I guess it's a type of seaweed. He says use he says a handful, a small handful. I've just been using about that much, about a rounded tablespoon, tablespoon. Okay, and then the other 2 things, let me find my teaspoon here, is 1 teaspoon of barley grass juice powder. And I think he tells you not to eat gluten, so I don't think there's any gluten in this, because he's always telling people not to eat gluten. So okay, I'm using 1 teaspoon of that. And then the last thing is this Hawaiian spirulina. Use 1 teaspoon of this as well. And he said these things all work together to remove the heavy metals. The blueberries, the cilantro, and then the spirulina, the barley grass juice powder, and the dulse flakes. So now I'm just going to blend that up and get this all mixed together. And if you can't find frozen wild blueberries like those, they do make a wild blueberry powder that I use once in a while if I can't find them. But this is expensive. It costs like $50 for this 8.8 ounce bag. But it says there's 50 servings in there, so you use like 2 tablespoons at a time, I think. Is that what it is? Yeah, 2 tablespoons. 2 teaspoons, rather. 2 teaspoons. So I do use that sometimes if I can't find the wild blueberries. So what's the point of all this, you're probably wondering. Why am I doing this? Well, it's because Anthony William says we all have viruses in our system. Now he's a medical medium. He has a spirit that talks to him. He's been hearing a spirit talk to him since he was 4 years old. So that's where all this information comes from. So it's different information than anything else I've seen or heard of out there. So I was kind of fascinated by it, and I thought, hey, it's worth a shot. So anyway, he says we all have viruses in our system that cause all these different problems. And you know, in my case, I have thoracic outlet syndrome, and I also have back pain. I've had 3 back surgeries. So I don't really know if it will help with chronic pain like that, but he does say that, like, some of the things, like I've had endocarditis twice. He says that's caused by a virus. Second time it ate up my heart valve and I had to have my heart valve replaced. He said that's a virus. He said sometimes you never really get rid of those viruses. They get in your system, they get into your liver and stuff, and they can cause other problems, digestive problems and stuff. He also says I have Raynaud's syndrome. He says that's caused by a virus as well. So you know, I've had problems for many, many years. I'll be 58 on Saturday, and I've started having chronic pain problems when I was like 17 or 18 years old, so my whole adult life. So it made me start thinking, well, I wonder if I do have, if viruses could be some of my underlying problems, because he says sometimes viruses just cause like low-grade inflammation and they can weaken your nervous system and all that kind of stuff. I know like thoracic outlet syndrome is always seems to be known as more of a mechanical thing that, you know, I do a lot of mobility and self-massage and, you know, always working on the posture and the muscles and all that, but, you know, it could be an internal thing. I've never heard anybody else say that or approach it from that way, but I figure it's worth a try. So he says that drinking the celery juice every day, there's some kind of salts in the celery juice that kill viruses in your system over time. So that's why I do the celery juice. And he also said that viruses feed off of heavy metals. And he said everybody's got heavy metals that accumulate in your system. And by drinking this heavy metal detox smoothie every day, it helps to kind of start cleansing those heavy metals out of your system. He said those viruses will feed on heavy metals as well. So I'm trying to you know, do the celery juice and this and see over time if it makes any difference in my conditions. I mean, everything's worth a try, you know. I've never heard anybody else approach it with TOS, approach it from this point of view, but like I said, that's what I do. I just try things, and some things help, some things don't, but I've made a lot of progress over the last 7-8 years, but it's just been little pieces to the puzzle, little things here, little things there. I keep the things that work, toss out the things that don't work, but I just keep trying things. So anyway, there's the recipe for that if anybody's interested. Also put the link to the Medical Medium website. He's got a lot of information on there if you want to read more about him. It's real interesting, you know, how he works and how he, you know, hears a spirit. He can actually read people with the help of the spirit and tell what's wrong with people. That's how he started out. So, and it got to be where so big he started writing books so the information could get to more people out there. But anyway, like I said, I'll put the link to his website there. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.